and I'm going to start figuring out where I want to place this. Now, I will say it is a little funky getting this down on this puffer vest. I will say this is the trickiest portion of this. Look how cute. There's the front, Go Birds, Bell 03 on the back. I mean, imagine this. Hi, crafty friends, and welcome back to Vlogtober, where we are bringing you either Christmas decor, Christmas items you can make, or Christmas gifts that you can give this holiday season every single day of October. And the reason that we're doing this is because we are getting ready for Christmas Craft Week that is going to be happening November the 3rd through the 7th. If you're interested in joining us for Christmas Craft Week, this is a free event that you all can sign up for. You need to make sure you click that first link down below to get signed up, because this is going to be an event you do not want to miss. Now, let's talk about today's craft, if you will, for Vlogtober. And as we were getting things together and compiling ideas of what we wanted to do, we realized that a lot of times dads, brothers, uncles, sports fans in general, it can be a little bit hard to figure out what you want to gift them over the holidays. So we were looking, and I don't know if you guys have seen, but let me show you. These are all sports puffer vests. And I got online and I looked at some of the prices of these sports puffer vests, and I was like, oh, that's expensive. I think they are amazing. I think they look so cool and I love them. But then I thought, we can do that with a regular puffer vest with our Cricut. So let's go ahead. We're gonna head into the craft room and I'm going to show you how you can make your very own custom sports puffer vest for the sports lover in your life. Before we dive in to the Cricut Design Space portion of this project, let's start out by going over everything that I have here on the craft table so that you can start gathering your supplies if you want to recreate this project. So first up, we do have a puffer vest. As you can see, this is a teeny tiny baby puffer vest, but I'm gonna show you how you can measure your puffer vest and what you need to do and how to set it up in Design Space so that you can get the proper proportions. But you do need some type of puffer vest. Once again, this one is just a Nike puffer vest, and we're going to be putting HTV on this. So the next thing that you are going to need is HTV in your team colors. This one we are making for cute little Colty, and the Bell family team are the Philadelphia Eagles. So we are going to be making this Eagles theme. I do have some little iron-on patches that we might put on the puffer vest as well. So I do have these. These are going to be linked down below as well. And then, of course, I have a light grip mat to cut our HTV on. The last thing that you're gonna need for this project is going to be your Cricut Mini Easy Press or some type of heat source. We are not gonna use a heat press today just because I don't know how well this nylon material is gonna hold up with the heat. I don't think it's gonna be a problem at all, but we are gonna be doing this together, and I am using this just because my heat stays on this area and not over the whole thing. So those are the supplies that you're gonna need for this project. So let's go ahead and dive into Design Space and let's get this set up so that we can make the cutest little gift for the sports fan in our life. Now that we are here in Design Space, we need to grab the font and or files that we're going to be using. Today, I think we're just going to be using an MGL font and kind of spicing it up. So I'm going to hop over to the Makers Gonna Learn website, and we are going to come over here to where it says fonts. And the font that we're using, we want to look for a very university, and it's funny that I say university, but we're looking for a very sports type font, and the font that we are using is surprisingly called University. So we are going to search for university. Here is the font that we're going to be using. To download a font from the Makers Gonna Learn website, all you have to do is click this arrow pointing down and it is going to download on your computer. Now, if you are on a PC, it might look a little bit different. What you want to do is you want to double click and open up that OTF font. That is an open typeface font. And then you're just going to install it on your computer. Now, if you're on a Mac, it's going to be found in your font book. If you're on a PC, it's going to be found in your character map, and you may have to right click and extract the font to install it. But we want to install it and install it over all devices that you have. And then from there, we can hop back over to Design Space. If it has been downloaded, you can find it just by simply clicking the text, going over here to our system fonts and typing in the name. So this was University. This one, it doesn't look like I have it downloaded. Let's try it under MGL. And I do not. So what I need to do is come up here to View, and we're going to reload Design Space. And we're just going to go ahead and hit replace, because for this one, we don't have anything. Now, I suggest if you have been working and you haven't saved your project, you must always save before you reload. But because we've not done anything, we're just going to click replace. What that's going to do is that is going to reload Design Space, and that is going to allow it to now recognize all of the new fonts that you have installed. So once we come down here to text, we can come up here to font, system font, and we can type in University, and there it is, MGL University font. Now, once we have that font installed on our computer, we are ready to set up everything and start sizing things appropriately. So now is going to be the time to grab your puffer vest, grab a measuring tape. I did forget to mention that in the materials that you're going to need, but you are going to need a measuring tape. So I'm going to grab a measuring tape and I'm going to show you how we're going to measure this puffer vest. So here you can see I have the puffer vest laid out on the table. What we're going to do is we're going to start on the back side of this. So I want to measure the area that I have to work with, and I want to kind of keep it within this square. So you see how the arms kind of cut out here? I just want to measure like from this side to this side, and we're just going to make a square here. So I'm going to lay this back down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my measuring tape. I'm going to we're going to start at this line, and I'm actually going to start on the number 1 here. Quick tip, if you are using one of these measuring tapes and you need to get exact measurements, don't start here. Start at your number 1 here, and we're going to measure there down. And that just really gives you a lot more of an accurate measurement. So I'm starting from this top seam that I'm going to put my name, because I really want to fit my name, I think, in this section here. So I'm going to start there and measure down to the bottom just to give me a good measurement. And I think we are looking at right at 12 inches here. So we're going to have 12 inches in height. And then from side to side, I'm going to start on 1, which you do have to remember. One thing, I said 12 inches, but when you are starting on the 1, if it goes down right here, it goes down to the 12, you need to subtract 1. So really we're looking at 11 inches in height. And then from side to side, we will do 8.5 from side to side. So now we're just going to pop back over to Design Space, and I'm going to show you how to set that up. Now, here in Design Space, if you'll come over here to Shapes, we're going to grab a square. You want to unlock the size aspect ratio, and we're just going to put this in. So I said my height was 11 and my width was 8.5. So we're going to put 8.5 there. And this is going to be the size of the back of our design. You can change the operation from basic to guide if you just want to use it as a guide. Either way, whatever floats your boat, you can use it as a basic cut, because we're going to delete this afterwards. So either way is fine. But once you have that, we do need to also size the front. So for the front portion of this, I want to make sure I have one section that is the size here, and then we can just duplicate it if we're going to put anything over here. So once again, same concept. I'm going to measure from right under here. Now, if you wanted to put something up here, what you would do is measure here and add this square. I'm just going to put vinyl on this bottom half. I'm not going to do it at the top. So I'm going to start my measurement right here under the arm and go down to the bottom. Once again, starting at the 1 mark on my measuring tape, and it comes to 9 inches, but we subtract the 1. So we're looking at 8 inches by, we'll go 5.5. So 8 by 5.5. So back in Design Space, we are going to grab a shape. Once again, I'm just going to do a square. We are going to unlock the size aspect ratio, and our height was 8 inches and our width was 5.5. And now we can duplicate that, and these 2 pieces can represent both sides of the front of the vest. Now we are truly ready to start designing. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to type out the name that we're going to put on the back. And because this is custom, you can put your favorite player's name on the back, or you can put your own name just to kind of make it really fun. So we're doing this one for one of those sweet little bellboys. So I have typed out the name here, but another thing is I want to make sure that I can fit it here within this section. So although I measured the whole thing, I need to really measure this here where the name is going to go. So once again, I'm going to take my measuring tape and I'm going to measure from top to bottom. And it looks like we're sitting at 2 3/4 inches. So back in Design Space, I can measure, and we have the height here. I can make this 2.5, keeping this size aspect ratio locked. I can change this to 2.5, which is less than the 2 3/4. And now I can fit that here. Now, I'm going to be real honest. I do think that looks a little bit large. So maybe we'll make this 2 inches instead of 2.5. I actually like the 2 inches better. I think that fits. We are looking at 5 inches across, which when I come over here and I measure, I look at, let's say 5.25 from one side to the other. I think that's a really good amount there. So I'm going to leave it like it is. And then we're just going to duplicate that, and I'm going to change this to 0.3. We're doing 3 because he is going to be turning 3, and then we're just going to fit that there and size that accordingly. And now I can add a little bit of spice if I want to. So I think I'm going to leave Belle just white, but I do think that I want a green offset around the 3, the number 0.3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an offset, and then I'm going to add another offset. And just hear me out, because I really think you're going to love how this looks at the end. So I'm first going to come up here to offset. Now, 0.25 is quite a large offset for what I'm trying to do. I'm going to see what it looks like at 0.1, and I really like that. And because this is an athletic type look, I think I'm going to change that from rounded corners to sharp corners, just because I want to keep those nice, sharp, clean lines. And then I'm going to click apply. Now it does come in as black at first. We'll change it to purple so you guys can see it. I'm clearly not going to be using this purple color. I want there to be this amount of separation between my next offset and my numbers. So by taking this offset this purple offset that I just created, I'm going to come up here to offset again, and I'm going to create a second 0.1 offset with sharp corners. And then I'm going to hit apply. Once again, it turns it black, but this time I want it to be green so that you all can see it. So what I really want is I want this purple offset to kind of not even be there, and that's the look I'm going for. So I'm going to change this back to purple, and I'm going to show you how we can achieve that look. So what you need to do is work over here on your layers panel. Working on your layers panel is really going to save you a lot of headache when it comes to designing and doing things like this, because if you try to work from your actual canvas, there is a chance you can move things around, and that is not what we want to do. So I'm going to select my first offset, which is our purple layer here that you see on the screen. I'm going to hold my shift key down, and I'm going to select that green offset that I really want to keep. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to click slice. Now, it looks crazy, but hear me out. I want to get rid of all of the purple. So I'm deleting the purple out, and I don't want this solid green. I actually only want the outside of the green. So I'm going to select that solid green layer and delete it, and look at what I'm left with. You can see here when I move this away, that is a kind of like a see-through layer. It creates a double offset, but it creates that barrier between our solid numbers and that offset that I'm wanting. So this is exactly what I was going for. I love this look. I think I'm ready. I think this is great. Now, I'm not going to attach Belle to the number 3 just because I want to be able to manipulate that myself when I'm putting it on the puffer vest. If you feel the need to attach them, if you want to keep them together, that is your prerogative, but I'm not going to attach them just because I want to be able to place them myself. So we're going to move on and do our front design. And because they are Eagles fans, we are going to put Go Birds on the front. So I think I want to put it just on one side here. So I'm going to duplicate this text because I want to keep it the same. And if I can keep it the same size, I'm going to, because I know that it's going to fit within the parameters of the kind of how the quilted is, like the quilted lines. So I'm just going to type in Go here, and then we're going to duplicate that. And then I'm going to type in Birds down here. Obviously, it's not going to fit lengthwise, not a problem. I'm just going to size this down so that I know that it fits lengthwise. And to make this look more cohesive, I can see that my height of the birds is 1.5. So I'm going to select Go, come up here to this size aspect ratio, change the height from 2 to 1.5. That way it does fit. And now I have Go Birds in the same size. Now, the last thing that I want to do is I want to add an offset to Go Birds, and I want it to be the same. And I'm going to bring these kind of closer together. Now, we do have to be mindful. Once again, I am going to cut these separate. I'm not going to attach them just because with puffer vest, you have those lines that you kind of have to think about. So I'm not going to attach them, but I do want to add the same size offset to both of those. So I'm going to go ahead and select them both. They don't have to be attached to add the same size offset to both. So what I'm going to do is I have them both selected. You can see here on the layers panel. I'm going to come over here to offset, and I'm going to add, I think, a 0.1. It looks like a fairly large offset, but I think I like it. And we are going to keep those sharp corners, and we're going to hit apply, and I'm going to change this color to green. And I really like that. And actually, let me change this slice result to this different green so it's the same. Yeah, I really like the looks of this so far. I think this is where we're going. Now it is time for us to cut our HTV. Okay, so we did all the designing in Design Space. We are ready to add our HTV to our mat and start the cutting process. Now, if you are new to heat transfer vinyl, or HTV as I call it, you have to place your heat transfer vinyl carrier sheet down. Now, the reason that we say carrier sheet is strictly because some brands of heat transfer vinyl now have a matte carrier sheet. Used to, we would always say glossy side down, but you are cutting from the back. So this is the adhesive part, if you didn't know. And how this adhesive is activated is by heat, hence the name heat transfer vinyl. So we have to mirror our design, and you need to make sure that you check your heat transfer vinyl and make sure that you are placing the carrier sheet. So here, let's see if I can get a close-up so you all can see. Here is the carrier sheet. Maybe here in a minute. Here is the carrier sheet, and here is the heat transfer vinyl. So we want that carrier sheet facing down on our mat. So we're going to place this down on our mat, just like this. And I may have to go grab a stickier mat. This one may not work, but let me check and see. It looks like it's going to be okay. So we are placing this down. This part is trying to come up for some reason. I think it's because it's bent. That will work. And now we are going to go to make it. And now we are just going to mirror this design, and we're going to move everything around so that we know that it fits on our mat. And it looks like it's going to fit very well. Let's move this birds up here, and we'll just put the go right here, close to that. Beautiful. And now we are going to go to continue. Now I did forget to delete out our squares. You can see here, I forgot to delete those out. We're not going to be using those. We're just doing the green and the white. So if you forgot, just skip over those mats. Not a big deal. We do need to turn mirror on for our green mat as well. And then we are going to start cutting our white. We're going to go to continue. We are cutting this on everyday iron-on. And a quick little tip, if you have heat transfer vinyl that is not sticking to your mat, we love to add a little bit of tape, washi tape specifically. You can see here, trying to tear some of it off. Give me just a second. Tape is not always my best friend. Maybe we'll get it here in a minute. So I am going to grab some washi tape, and I'm just going to tape this edge down here where it has been wrinkled, like it has bent a little bit. I'm just going to tape that edge down, and honestly, maybe even tape this. I have trust issues, and sometimes my Cricut is the reason that I have trust issues because things get messed up. And y'all, I'm just going to be real honest. We're running low on white heat transfer vinyl right now. So I am just going to make sure that this doesn't mess up because I need to save all of the vinyl that I can. Because I have other projects that I need this white heat transfer vinyl for. So taping it down is perfectly fine. And this one didn't tape very well. Let's try this one more time. Taping it down is perfectly fine. No shame in my game. Maybe it's because I'm a little bit lazy and don't want to find another mat. Maybe it's because I have trust issues. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Who knows? But don't be afraid to tape your material down, guys. So I am going to load this into my machine right here. We are using this everyday iron-on setting with our fine point blade. Mirror is turned on. All we have to do now is press that flashing play button, and it is going to start cutting our material. Now, in the meantime, while it is cutting, I'm going to go ahead and turn my mini easy press on to a heat setting of 2, and we're going to set that over to the side and let that start heating up. I think it's cutting fine. Anyway, while that's cutting, I did go grab another mat. I'm going to go ahead and load my green, my other color, on another mat. I love having multiple mats for this reason, just because I can go ahead and kind of like preload the next color that I'm cutting onto a mat and not have to wait to unload. I also like using, oh, that didn't sound good, but fingers crossed, guys. Now, once that is done, normally with heat transfer vinyl, you shouldn't have an issue, especially if you use the everyday iron-on setting, but it's just a really good habit to check your cuts and make sure that it cuts through before you unload it. How you're gonna do that is I like to come in here and I like to, yes, I'm using a True Control knife, use a weeding tool, but I like to kind of peel back part of the HTV that I know I'm going to be weeding. And you can see there, that is a phenomenal cut. So now we can just go ahead and hit that unload button. So I'm just gonna come over here, I'm gonna unload that, and now we are going to be moving on to our green mat. Once again, this is going to be cut on the everyday iron-on cut setting. And while that is cutting, I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm leaving the extra pieces on the mat. And I am going to weed out this. Once again, I just always like to check. It's a good habit to get in, to check your cuts, make sure it cuts all the way through. And it did so beautifully. So now we are ready to unload and go ahead and weed this design, or weed our offset. What I'm doing here is I'm just cutting off the excess using my True Control knife. That way I don't have to weed this whole page and I can save this. So I'm just going in there, weeding that out, and then I'm going to start from that, or cutting that off. And then I'm just going to start from the outside and start pulling up that HTV. Now, while I'm weeding this, if you haven't already signed up for Christmas Craft Week, what is stopping you? We are really wanting to help you have the best handmade holiday you have ever had. And not only that, but we want to help you utilize either materials you have or give you ideas to not only have the best handmade holiday, but teach you how to make your handmade items look store-bought and professional. That is our whole goal with Christmas Craft Week. We are also teaming up with some of the top names in the crafting industry to help teach you. So it's not just gonna be us. We do have people, other YouTubers as well, who are going to be teaching during that week. Once again, click that first link down below and get signed up. This is a free event, and we truly cannot wait to see you guys there. We have been working very hard to put this together for you guys, so we want to make sure you have the opportunity to get signed up. So I'm just weeding this out. Yes, I know, and I'm sure I will see some comments. I am weeding with a True Control knife. If you've been around the channel, you know I'm very much a do as I say, not as I do. I just like not having to change tools a lot, and I have figured out how to weed pretty well with a True Control knife and being safe. So leave me a comment. What are some odd things that you weed with that is not a weeding tool? Anything that you weed with that is not a weeding tool, leave me a comment down below. I can't wait to hear. So now that we have our offset weeded, cut and weeded, I'm going to bring this off the mat. I'm gonna go ahead and cut my transfer tape as well so that we can separate out this number and the Go Birds section here. And now we're ready to start putting all of this onto our puffer vest here. I'm so excited about this. So what I'm doing now is I'm just separating out my name and the number here and the Go Birds down here. Like that. And I'm going to start figuring out where I want to place this. Now, one cool little trick, if you want to find the center of your name, if you'll take your heat transfer vinyl, I'm gonna make this easier. I'm gonna cut this top part off here. But if you'll take your heat transfer vinyl to find the middle, if you fold this together, line up the edges of your letters like this, and just kind of crease. You don't need to crease where the heat transfer vinyl is. You can just crease the top And once we open it up, do you all see that line right there in the middle? It's right here. Can you all see that? Now we have a center point for our name, and we can make sure that we line that up in the center of the puffer vest, like that. Then I'm gonna lay this down. I'm gonna bring in my offset and double check it. Beautiful. Then I'm gonna take this off. And I'm actually gonna pull the 03. I think I want it, let's put Belle down first. Let's put the name down first right here. Make sure we've got it centered. Remember, I'm using a heat setting of 2. Now, I will say it is a little funky getting this down on this puffer vest. So taking it slow will be very important. Ooh, I like that. It looks really, really good. It feels really good. I'll show you all a really big, I'll show it to you all together here in a minute. So now I want to place my number 3 down. This is where I'm thinking it's going to be kind of tricky just because we're gonna be putting this through these seams. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna work, but we're gonna do this together. So I'm just gonna place it down. I'm not even gonna worry about the seams right now, but I'm going to start on the center portion here and go up and down from there. And I think I might even change this from 2 to 1 because a puffer vest does hold heat pretty well. So let me bump that down to 1 and see how I like that. Because this HTV is applying down to this very, very quickly. I think I'm gonna give it just a little bit more right here. And I feel like that looks really good. You can even see like where it went through the seams, and it kind of just makes it look like it was made to be like that. I love that. So let's go ahead and add our offset to this. And then I may take a Teflon sheet and just run over all of it once I'm done. So lining this up, and this may be a little bit tricky because it was down in, kind of went down in the grooves. So what we may have to do is do this one at a time and start from the top and work our way down and manipulating the fabric underneath it to get it to fit. So I think I have the 3 figured out. We just have to be very careful about this 0. Let's move it out this way. And we may have to even cut this center portion out or go around this center here because it's not lining up. Do you all see that? It's not really lining up great. So I think I'm gonna start with the 3, pull it up, move my way over. So let's start on the edge here. Okay, so let's pull up this 3. You see how the 0 is not. Now I'm just gonna pull this up and I'm going to focus in on the 0. And I will say the 2 heat setting, or the bumping it down to 1 for this is very, very, very much helped. Now it's a little bit closer to this other 3 than I want it to be, but I think it will be okay. I will say this is the trickiest portion of this, is kind of manipulating this where we want it. So I do think I'm going to have them touching. I like that placement. So now what I'm gonna do, bringing in my mini Easy Press, remember we're using a heat setting of 1 because these puffer vests really like to hold that heat in. Placing that down. Let's see, we did get a little bit here. We need some more heat up here, like that. Gently peeling this back, making sure we got it. Looks like we missed something right here. And done. We got the back portion finished. Look how cute, guys. Now we're gonna finish with the front. I am going to start with my offset because this is a solid offset. So I'm going to place my offset down, and I really want it down here in this corner. Looks like I need to hit this top of this S just a little bit more. Looks so good so far. And now I'm just going to make sure I have all of my little tiny pieces of white weeded off so that it doesn't. I'm going to cover this. I'm going to place Go Down first. Probably going to let that cool down just a little bit, and while that is cooling down before I peel it off, I'm just going to peel this portion up and get birds placed down here like that. Bringing in this and covering up. You do have to be very careful with placement, especially if you are going to be layering heat transfer vinyl on a puffer vest, because it is very easy for it to move. So just be aware of that. Making sure that gets stuck down really well. Once again, you may have to let this kind of cool for the adhesive to stick down very well. But look how good that looks, guys. So the last thing that we're gonna do to our cute puffer vest is we are gonna add some patches. We just got these off of Amazon. They're just little green stars. One thing I will say, when you are adding these patches, if you are doing this to a puffer vest, I would suggest getting a Teflon sheet just to cover up, because you do have to hold your heat source on the puffer vest for a while, and we don't really want to melt or burn that material. So having a Teflon sheet is really going to be helpful. So let's go ahead and show you how we're gonna do this. I've already added this star on there. I think I wanna add 2 more on the side, and I think I'm gonna do these individually so that they don't move so much. So you can see here, I've added a star there. I'm gonna cover it with the Teflon sheet. I am working with my mini Easy Press with a heat setting of 2. I'm gonna feel right there is where my star was, and I'm just gonna hold that on there for around 30 seconds just to make sure it gets adhered down really, really well. So we're just gonna hold that on there, and then once this is done, I will show you what it looks like. I do also like to pull that back and kind of look and see where I need to add more heat, and where I need to add that is right there on those corners of those stars. So once again, I'm just gonna hold the pressure down pretty well, and just hold that on there for about 20 to 30 seconds, checking and making sure we're not doing anything. And it's starting to look really cute. So I wanna add another smaller star to this side. Especially since we have 3 on the back, he's gonna be turning 3. I'm going to kind of feel for that and then hold that on for 30 seconds. Now I'll pull it this way so you guys can see better. Once again, pulling that back and checking it, making sure. It looks like I really wasn't even on it very well, so let's just do it right here. Hold that on there a little bit longer. That looks to be adhered down very well. Super cute. And then what you can do after you're done, I'm just gonna open that back up this way, adding my Teflon sheet. And then I'm also going to put some heat from the back because that adhesive is on the back. So I wanted to heat it all the way through the front and then also go from the back to make sure that those patches stay on there really, really well. And I think that has us done with our little patches. Look how cute. There's the front, Go Birds, Bell 03 on the back. I mean, imagine this in an adult size. I think it is so stinking cute. And honestly, I cannot wait to see how you all rep your team. I would love to see photos. So if you decide to make one of these, email Anda customer service. We love to see your creations. Now, once again, if you haven't signed up for Christmas Craft Week, what is stopping you? It's completely free to sign up. Make sure you click that link down below. Go get signed up. We are the whole month of October and that first week of November, we're getting you ready for Christmas, and we cannot wait to see you at Christmas Craft Week. So make sure you click that link, get signed up. If you have liked this video, hit that thumbs up button. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel and hit that bell notification so that you can be notified every single day, with our new Christmas craft, Christmas gifts you can give, whatever. Once again, we are doing this every day the month of October, and we can't wait to help you have the best handmade holiday you've ever had. See you guys in the next one.